Power Rangers.
Okay,
Power up.
cheers.
Power up. I like it. Go
back.
team.
Welcome back to C2S and our YouTube conversations and wherever else you guys find us. So we have Kayla here in Topher. Kayla is our Director of Operations and Designer, and Topher is our Director of Project Management. They've also been our longest employees.
Yeah.
As you guys know, if you've been listening to previous episodes, we drop a new episode every week, and we have talked in the past about both of these two. We chatted about Topher a lot as he was one of our first employees even before I was on the team. So I often say him and Jamie started this company and got it rolling. And Kayla found us a few years ago now.
Yeah, it was 2020.
Okay. Oh,
COVID.
wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, and it feels like you've been with us since the beginning.
Yeah.
And so today I want to chat about, because we have people like colleagues that are constantly like, where do I find a Kayla and Topher in my life? Or, you know, other people will be like, how do you get your team to do that? And we always talk about like, we could not do what we do without our team, but specifically you guys. And I feel like it's been very rare that we have like these frustrations of like, you know, there's never been a time where we're like, how can we get them out of here? And
Good.
so I just want to talk through like what tools, if any, maybe we haven't given you like for you to do your job, or I feel like both of you just step up in areas and you take ownership. We'll always say there's people out there that have an ownership mindset and an employee mindset, and we're always striving to hire people with an employee mindset because we want
Owner mindset.
owner mindset. We're always striving owner mindset because we want people to show up here that want to build this brand for their lifestyle. We always say this is not the Jamie and Morgan show. This is not to build our lifestyle. We want C2S to help support our team and their lifestyle and to truly live their best life. But we obviously have to work to make the money. Yeah. And so, yeah, I just want to have a casual conversation about, what brought you to C2S and why you guys show up the way you do.
Yeah.
Why haven't you left yet?
Yeah. That's the real question.
Why? This is what I named it. Employee buy-in, how to get your team to give a shit from the employees themselves.
I love it. I love it.
Well, Jamie's been blackmailing me since 2016, so I haven't been able to leave. No,
That is true.
I would say my start
I'll
here.
find you.
Exactly.
I will definitely.
I had a little tracker implanted on me.
Yeah.
My start here was into like where I'm at right now. I would say my mindset has obviously completely changed from where I was at then to where I'm at now. I think I started with
College kid to being a dad.
yeah, essentially.
That's pretty
Some
cool.
things are kind of the same, but my maturity level. But I would say I started with a curiosity in construction in general, and I think this was a perfect fit for me because I actually had previous experience at another construction company, and I basically did summer's worth of work with a broom in my hand. So I didn't learn a whole lot other than how to keep job sites clean.
Which is a big deal.
Which is, very important, but not exactly a useful skill for an entire company. But I learned everything that I know in the field from Jamie. And I think he has a way of teaching, not necessarily verbally, but physically. On job sites, it was like he was always right next to me working and basically teaching me that way. It was less of, hey, I'm going to show you how to do this for 20 minutes and then I'm going to leave. My expectation is that this is done. It's like, no, I'm in the trenches with you. And I think having that kind of leadership, but also me as this young college kid of like, I'm such a hard worker, seeing my quote unquote boss basically outworking me every day. I was like, okay, like this is what this is all about. Like I better step it up or continue to up my game if I want to handle, if the boss is going to outwork me every single day. Like that's kind of odd. So I think, that was the initial steps for me, like really buying in, because one, it showed me that this guy isn't just going to throw me into this project and be like, sweet, I've got this kid to do my labor for me and actually like teach me the steps in which to do it, and then allowed me to ask questions along the way, and also give me a ton of grace. And
I don't know why he's laughing.
It reminds me of Blaine.
Oh boy.
The one time, I don't know what I was doing, but we were doing a basement finish and Topher was there painting alone.
yeah, an entire basement.
Yeah, and he like texted me. He's like, "Oh, this is whatever, a lot of work." And I replied, and I was like, "Yeah, I've painted before."
Yes. I was like, this is taking me forever. And you're like, yeah, I know. I've painted before.
Oh boy.
But
Maybe
no.
the one thing that doesn't follow along with, I was there working with you all the time, but
Yes. Yeah.
The one
But
example.
no, to answer your question, as far as buying in, from the early stages, it was more of like seeing the representation of what he wanted this company to be by being boots on the ground and being right next to me. And I don't think he necessarily had visions of, I'm going to try and groom this kid into being what I am today. But it was like, if he's going to be here, I might as well utilize him the best I can, or for long term, versus grab a broom, grab a hammer, and maybe you're here for 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Setting an example for workmanship and
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the drive, because I feel like you both have that
Yeah.
in the field.
For sure.
Yeah. I would
What do
say
you got?
mine is a little bit different just in a sense of like I came from corporate America and then COVID happened, and then that's kind of where I was like, I'm going to take this shift in life and like an opportunity. And then what I felt like I was lacking in corporate America was creativity. Like the same day, or like everything was the same. Every day you did the same thing, you worked with the same people. There was no aspect of creativity, and I really miss that. Like that's something personally for me that I feel like is a value. So then when I found C2S, you know, I shot my shoot, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say. And it worked out. They took a chance on me, and I feel like I've kind of found my niche here in doing a lot of different things, wearing a lot of different hats, and that is what drives me to be a better person personally and also a better employee. And I think my like buy-in value is the brand that you guys have created is something that aligns with me personally, like in my personal life, in my professional life. You always see a room for growth. Like no matter what, there's always a way to grow and there's always a way to learn. And I appreciate that
Yeah.
because I felt like in corporate, you don't really get that. So like that small team vibe
Right.
really brings that to a forefront.
I love that. Yeah, and I'd say too, I'm like, culture
Yeah.
is like a big thing from, I think, hiring standpoint as well, that I think sometimes can be overlooked, or like the friendship thing. Like people are like, they're your employees, they're not your friends, stuff like that, where I'm like, no, I'm gonna make sure that we jive and that we'd want to hang out after hours, and you know,
Yeah.
make sure that stuff like that for the culture aspect.
I think that ties into like coming from corporate where you're a number.
Totally.
Like we're more of like a family.
Yeah.
Like
We
if
care.
there are things going on, like, yeah, like we care.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
we
you
want
could-
to help out wherever we can.
For sure. And you give a little bit more grace because of some of those situations, or
Yeah.
like you'll do something that you maybe wouldn't do in your like 8 to 5.
Right.
Right. Like you're hired for these amount of hours and that's like all you're putting into it. Like there are days where I will work weird hours just to get things done because I want to set myself up for success the next day. Or like maybe someone needs help. Or maybe we get a nasty gram at 8 p.m. and something just needs to happen to like
Right.
fix that.
Right.
Otherwise it's going to sit over the weekend and it's just like drains all of us.
Right.
So sometimes there are days where that happens, but
Yeah.
it needs to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even with that, because we've had it,
Yeah.
and I know a lot of other people that are listening have that, is like their team is like, no, it's 5 o'clock and I'm not answering, I'm not looking, I'm not responding, like hard, firm boundaries. And in this industry, I think that's extremely difficult because a lot of times if it fell back on us, like we don't have the answers. And I always say when you hire, you should be hiring someone to replace you, and for sure be taking things off your plate, taking things off someone else's plate on the team. So like with that, what would you like, because I don't think we ever said that to you guys either. Like, hey, you have to, you know, we're always like, live your best life.
Yeah.
But like you've always take the initiative to
Yeah.
do that. And you've never had these like firm boundaries in that way, which we so appreciate. But what led you to that, and like why did it make it okay for you guys?
Yeah, I think there are a few things that come to mind, like first to mind when talking about that. One is that I found that working in this industry, like our clients also have a day job. This is not their day job.
Yeah.
So they're likely checking emails at nights and on the weekends. And so having a little bit of flexibility of like when you're responding to them, or even if you're like thinking about them at night or thinking about what's next at night, it actually sets you up for a successful next work day. And then also, I still think it's important to set boundaries in a sense of like I try to set boundaries when I pick up my kid from daycare until she goes to bed. Like I try to be off my phone, but if something hits the fan, like I'm still gonna check it and get back to you. But just different boundaries versus like very strict. Yeah, 8 to 5 boundaries.
Yeah, I think to your point, it's just being mindful of like the time that you have away from work and using it in whatever way because I mean, if you don't think about it whatsoever, you could be on your phone, you could be on whatever, you could constantly be finding stuff to do. So some days are more demanding than others, but I would agree to your point where it's hard to have this like hard set boundary of if someone's asking me what time they can start tomorrow and they text me at 7 p.m. it's like I'm kind of toast if I don't respond to you right now until the next day, because then you might not show up. So it's making good business decisions, but also not letting it consume your entire life.
And like I think many of us have said before, like it's not, if the house isn't burning down, like it's not the world isn't ending.
Right.
For sure.
However, like there are situations in which it makes sense to have a quicker response than not.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, I think one point you brought up earlier as far as the employee mindset versus the owner mindset, I think you guys have given your employees like a pretty long leash. And I would say that you have given, well, me personally, like the benefit of the doubt in most situations. And I'm sure some of that comes with like gaining trust over time, but I feel as if I'm almost the opposite of micromanaged, of just like free reign to do, like I could, honest to goodness, I could like on some given week, I could probably never go to a job site and you guys would never know.
Totally.
Which is, I think, awesome, because then it gives me the autonomy to say, I get to choose what I want to do with my week. Now, if I did it for a week, you'd be like, literally nothing happened this week at a job site.
Yeah.
So then
like
it would come back to me, but I think it puts us as employees in these little pockets of that we can own.
Yeah.
Do I write checks? Do I, talk with our insurance company? No.
Yeah.
But do I get autonomy on each of my jobs and not get managed to a point where it's like, hey, where were you today and what are you doing? Yes, I received that. So I get to kind of do whatever I want, which I take pride in and I don't take advantage of. And I think that's been a learned thing over time.
Right.
And
for sure.
I'm sure someone could walk into that and take advantage of it, but I think that's
and they have, and you've seen it now too. So I'm sure you're like, I do not want to be that.
Right.
Well, and I think there's a balance too of hiring people with owner mindsets versus employee mindsets, because sometimes like you do want a little bit of employee mindset of like,
for sure,
here's your task list, get it done, or else like something. But you also need to set the building blocks in what you're building. And at Construction of Style, I feel like you guys have had this vision of what you want to build and kind of this empire that you want to build up, but setting those foundation blocks up with owner mindset people is only going to help grow the company to where you want it to be in 5, 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, I think the owner like mindset too is like you own your portion.
Yeah.
Like if you're not showing up to a job for a week, well, that following week, everything's coming crashing down on you.
Yeah.
Right.
You're doing 20-hour days.
Yeah. Like when you need to work at night, when you need to work on the weekend, as much as we try and limit it, there are times where you have to do it. Right. But that's only because like, okay, I own that portion. I need to get it done or it's coming back on me.
Yeah. No one else is going to do it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which in turn is like, if you're not doing your job, we're not doing our jobs, then nobody's going to get paid.
Right.
Yep.
And I think too, we are open with you guys financially.
Yes.
So you know where the cash flow is, you know where what, is like, we don't even care. Like, we don't even leave it off the table for what we make personally. So it's like knowing that this isn't to get Jamie Morgan rich by any means, right? And like, we'll say, we need to get X amount, or like, we don't have jobs here. Like, we need to move faster, or like, now we're solid until X, Y, and Z. So I think for us, it's been super beneficial. I know we have colleagues that are like, we've tried it and it did not work whatsoever, but luckily I think it's worked for us in the sense of it just pushes you guys to work harder, because we're like, if you guys want more money, we got to make more sales. We got to be more profitable. Like, the money just doesn't appear. And so I think that's been a benefit. I don't know if you guys would disagree or agree, but
no, and it's hard to say, but I don't know if this model that we follow here at Construction to Style, like, I don't know if you could necessarily plug and play it into every company, because I think some owners might have a different business plan. They might be far more like, there's a hierarchy here. We've got our super, we got our PM, we've got our this, we got our, and it's like, I want to follow that. Where here, I think we've kind of just felt it out a little bit. Like, do we need 1 PM? Do we need 2? Maybe let's, like, we have a salesperson now. And so it's a little less of a structured thing. But I also want to recognize that, like, that's probably a huge risk for you guys to say, I'm not managing my project manager. Like, my project manager manages himself. And that could go wrong. Like, that could go not so well. So I think the other play of, like, everything is set in stone is probably a safer way, but it provides less flexibility, and they are truly just a cog in the wheel of, like, you're my employee, you do your task list and your job description, and you will get paid. Versus you can make this whatever you want it to be. If you want to slack off, you can do that, or if you want to try your best, then you can do that too.
Well, and I feel like the, like, long leash helps us grow and be better employees in a sense too, because like, they're so hands off in a sense of, you know what you have to do, figure it out, come to us if you have a problem, like, I've found myself in many of situations where it's like that, and if I can't figure it out, I ask you a question, or like, I ask for your opinion, but if I can figure it out, I just do it, and I make it happen, and it typically works out. Like, there's not really a time where I feel like a decision's been made and you're like, well, why did you do that?
Well, and I strive really to, I hired you guys for a reason. So even if you make a decision that I don't necessarily agree with, I'm like, they made that decision and I need to trust that. And sure, maybe it's not the way I would have done it, but I'm like, I need to let it go. And I'm like, it's fine. Because not everything, let it go. Not everything is the way I'd do it. And then with that too, I think Topher and I have run into situations where I'm like, I think it's micromanaging, whereas you're probably like, I need someone to tell me what to do.
Direction.
Yeah, you're like, I need direction, but I'm almost at a fault that I don't want to micromanage, that I just remove myself, because I'm like, because that's what I would want. And then we had this discussion not long ago where you're like, yeah, but I would want, like, I just need you to say what you're trying, what you want me to do here.
Yeah, I'll figure out how to do it, but I need to know what it is that you want to be done.
And then it even hit me the other day when I wrote an email to you where I was like, sometimes I probably have to tell you, I was like, I need you to see what this looks like. Because I'm like, I don't know. And I want to lean on you to, like, help figure it out. And even that, maybe, I don't know what you thought, but maybe you're even like, that's all I needed you to tell me. Like, you don't know, you don't have a way. We're going to figure it out and see how things land.
But that's you, like, trusting him with that owner mindset, right? Is like, you give him the prompt or whatever, he can figure it out. He provides it back.
Or being a little bit more direct. Which I'm not great at, but I try to work at that.
I do feel like you guys also are very honest and open with your goals for the company in, like, a short term, a long term, and we reassess those, like, very often. And they're, like, in our documents. You could look at them any day you want to. But I do think that also helps us as employees be better, and because we know what the long term goal is. So I just think that being open with your team about those goals is super important.
And I'd say with you, you can share this, but even since we started C2S, you've said like, I don't want my kids taking over the construction company, which I think is way different than a lot of.
My dad said that about the restaurant too.
And they didn't.
And look at, and my dad did too about our businesses. He's like, I will not let my kids ever take this over.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
I mean, that could change, but
Yeah.
I think my whole thought behind how we operate is because like we all came from different backgrounds.
Yes.
We all lived our own lives, and like everything up to that point, like will help you make decisions or whatever. Like if we only ran everything how I think or how Morgan thinks, that's all we're gonna do or all we're gonna know. When we open it up, like, well, what do you think?
Yeah.
Like then we are more of a team and like can be like bouncing things off of each other.
Right.
And it's not like, here's what you need to do, go and do it. This is my way.
Yeah.
Like I think that's why we've been able to do what we've done.
For sure. I also feel like there are like bosses that will ask you that, but not actually intentionally listen. And you guys do a really good job of that. It's like, if you ask for our opinion and we give it to you, you like take that and to heart versus just like listening and not doing anything with it. Because I've definitely worked for people where that's not the case. And that also shows value to us as employees. Like, okay, you actually care about our opinion and you care about what we're saying because we care about your brand.
Yeah. So going back to, again, a video that we've chatted about, but like Jamie never wanted it to be mullet or construction. Like he wanted it to be construction to style. And like even that, building this, I feel like we're building it with our team. Like we're all figuring it out. That's why we don't have all these things in place and in order, because we're just, when someone comes on board, we're like, all right, this is a new, like even with you, operations.
Yeah.
It was a new role. You ran with it. You started building things, which I was like, oh my gosh, like operations person is so important. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Especially for my crazy brain. I'm like, wow, to keep me in line, like that's so good. And right now we have a new sales position. We're figuring it out. Like it's not always smooth either, but all that to be said, like going back to like with our kids, I'm like, we're not setting it up so that we're second, third generation. Like we're truly with the people on our team. Like, you want to own part of this company? Great. Then show up and show that you want to own it, and let's figure out what that looks like. And again, figuring it out. We have no idea because from the dozens of people we've talked to, no one's done that in the construction industry. So we're still trying to like figure it out. But with Jamie too and myself, it's like with our kids, sure, if Grayson one day is like,
totally,
I want a part of this, and we're like, get in line. Like it's not just going to be oh, here you go. You know, like you have to really want this. And also for me, I'm like, that just feels, even though I know it'll be here before we know it, but
far away.
Yeah, I said this next decade of my life, like I want to be a serial entrepreneur. Like I want to build brands and businesses. Like I don't want to be just stuck in the grind of one brand that we've built. So I'm like
day-to-day stuff.
Funneling the right humans and people to
and in that
build.
Decade, G will be 20.
Don't tell me that.
It's crazy.
Well, it's true.
But then I think we do have that mindset. Like, I was laughing thinking about the things I made Topher do. Like, oh my God. And I'm like, he's never complained. He's done it all. Like, what a good sport. Like, I was actually like, oh my gosh. Like, he's come to federal prison with me. Like, without even thinking twice. I'm like, it's like, cool, let's do it. I'm like, we started a nonprofit. He's like, I'm in. Like,
yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. Other people would be like, whoa.
Yeah.
I signed up to do this. Now you have me in all these other brands. But I'm like, I also think it's cool, like, you test it and you're like, you're open. But to me, I'm like, there's so many, and Kayla with Neon Lion, now like you're part owner over there, right? And it's like, so there's so much opportunity, I think, if you want that, right? Of like these other things that we're creating. And I'm almost like, you guys want a part of it? Great. Come on board. You don't? Cool. We'll find someone else.
Yeah.
But
I want to touch too, like, at least my intention was never to grow like a huge like production 30, 40, 50 people construction company.
Yeah.
Where I'm sure there's people right now who are like, oh, they'll never be able to scale that model. Great, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's true. Like, because we don't have the layers of all the corporate like bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably couldn't. But I think as we do grow, we have like the right people in place right now to where if we wanted another project manager or a carpenter or a laborer or whatever,
Right.
then Topher could manage them.
Totally.
Yeah.
And like, it's a little bit out of like the ordinary, like, I don't know, business building type thing.
Yeah,
but
right.
I do think it's like a modern way of construction though, and even with our contractor coalition, like we're thinking different. We're pushing the envelope a little bit. We're thinking in a new way of how people work too. I mean, we don't have an office. We don't do all these other things in person when we try to do a lot of it digitally or
yeah. But I think that's part of the draw for me, or always has been, as far as why I've been here so long. Like, if I wanted exposure to bigger projects, more volume of projects, I could be on site all day, every day. Like, I probably would have left a while ago, because there's a massive home building company that I could probably go work my way up the ladder and be on job sites every day building 50 homes a year. But I think the draw for me is the potential of this being the new industry standard. I mean, you see a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, you guys have such a online following, we need to like ramp ours up, and you're doing plenty of classes on that. And I feel fortunate to be in a company that has been a little ahead of the curve, maybe, or at least like prioritizing that versus we need 70 projects this year, we need to hire 3 more PMs and a carpenter, and let's just be, you know, like cut and square construction company. And now it's like, yeah, we do more revenue for construction than probably anything else, but it's like, then you have these different avenues, and I get to sit on this couch and chat here today versus managing on a job, which I think is kind of cool and could be, so you just get a feel for different areas. And I think it gives us as employees kind of that entrepreneur flavor of, I may not be in the weeds of Neon Line, but it's like my company had a part of that company, and that's kind of cool for me to be like, that's my company.
Yes.
Yeah, that is.
I think that ties back to our previous conversation too, like burnout.
Yeah.
Like changing things up. Like we get a variety of things like day to day.
Yeah.
Like if you were on a big production builder and you're at the job, like job to job to job every day, like, I mean, I'd be like, oh,
I mean, it'd literally be, until your company holiday party and maybe your company golf outing, and those are the two things
those are actually your only holidays
to look forward to. And then, nothing else is changing until you, I don't know, make a move to a different position or something. But
right.
You know, there's always room to grow in a ton of different ways, whether it's a bigger paycheck, more on your plate, less on your plate with a bigger paycheck for a bigger company. But one of the draws for working for a small company, like I came from a business owner, like my dad owns his own restaurant, and I kind of learned just by watching him that small companies value their employees to like the next level. No matter what industry, I think you just care a lot more about the people that are working for you.
Yeah.
And so it's not always about the bigger paycheck. It's about caring if my kid is sick one day and I have to like shift around my schedule, but like that's okay.
Right.
I'm going to make up the work anyways.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's just that flexibility of different aspects of your life. And the fact that you guys have your family, but you treat us like family too, is just something that draws and keeps at least me, I'm sure you too, here.
Yeah. I think over the last, especially after having a kid now, and just how seemingly excited and how much easier it was to go transition in to that phase of my life, having been with you guys for the last however many years, and knowing like I am so excited for what my life looks like as a dad with this company, because I know the things that are important to me are going to be doable, because you guys have set that up that way, versus what am I going to do for dropping my kid off because my boss won't let me show up anytime after 7 a.m.
Yeah.
But now it's like, if I had to show up at 9 for a month, it'd be like, totally fine. Get it.
Or like, make your own schedule.
Yeah.
Just get your job done.
Right. Yeah. So it's, I don't know. I think those small things, you would almost take I don't need to make $10 million a year
Right.
versus the comfort of working for a company where you're just going to be met right where you need to be is kind of priceless.
Yeah. That was one of the questions is how do you show up more like than a paycheck? So yeah. Is it more than a paycheck? Which I kind of know the answer for you guys because we've obviously talked about this.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But I always think that was for me. So I've just treated it that way because I'm like where I worked before, I worked somewhere where I had to be there at 8 and I could not leave till 5. And then I worked somewhere else where it was flexible and I actually took a pay cut when I moved into that position. But I'm like, that was worth, in my opinion, like 20 grand because I'm like, we were having our second child and I was like, it was horrible being 8 to 5 and I couldn't leave 1 minute early, couldn't be 1 minute late. And I was just like, this is way too much.
Well, there are like studies out there now that actually show that if you do give your employees like a little bit more flexibility or like an unlimited PTO type of thing, they're actually going to end up working harder because they know what they have to do to get their things done so that they can go check out and actually like take a vacation.
Yeah.
But they're already thinking about what's next. Whereas like if you're working that true 8 to 5, I feel like you're like, I'm signing out my out of office. I have my backup and they can figure it out.
Right.
Versus
100%.
like, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
Right.
When I feel like that general attitude where it's like, I don't owe you anything. Like you are a means to an end for me.
Right.
I am working for the man. You're benefiting from my work. It almost has this hint of like spite in there of I like working for you, but I don't like love you or love working for you.
Yeah.
And I don't really like have your best interest in mind, where I think you guys have created a culture, if you will, here that's kind of the opposite of that. Like, I don't want to take all my unlimited PTO because I would screw the company over kind of thing.
You like your job.
Yeah, and we enjoy doing work here. So I think that less rigid, however it works, day-to-day flow is created more of
like the structure,
more buy-in for at least me than if it were to be structured.
Yeah,
for sure, I agree with that.
Yeah,
wholeheartedly.
And with that too, I mean, I kind of already said this, but it's like, you know, even you this year wanted a significant raise, and I was like, let's do it. And I'm like, can we? I don't know. Let's figure it out, right? And we did. And it's kind of like navigating too. But then you're like, okay, that means I have to take on more work. So what does that look like? And then it's worth it to you, right? Or it's like other people could be like, you know what, I'm at my capacity, or, you know, but we've even said like you're figuring out P&Ls a little bit more down to the detail of jobs. And then even in my mind, I'm like, if all of a sudden you need help, like it's on you to figure out like, I want to hire a project manager. Like I'm taking on more, but now my plate's full. But guess what? I do have some profitability here to hire. And it's like, and I'm like, go do it then. Like, do whatever you need to do.
Owner mindset.
Yeah. But I think just with that, of the constant balance of, for a long time, you were like, I'm so comfortable in what I'm doing, the money I'm making. And now probably with having a child too, it's like, oh, I have to actually provide for another human being.
More,
But it's just like something I appreciate with you guys is just like, it's that constant conversation. It's not like every year we're going to have a review and, you know, again, I have colleagues that are like, what percentage are you giving people this year? And I'm like, oh my gosh. But then also with that, it's like, oh, Topher went 5 years. You know, but it's just that constant, what do you need? And I expect you guys to come to me to say, hey, this is what I need. And this is how I'm showing up. Yeah. And this is how I can bring the company to this, to have this. And I'm like, cool, let's do it then.
Like, here's the value I can bring back to you, and kind of like break it down in a sense of like, here's what where I would like to be. Here are the things I want to do to get there. Like, this is my goal. Yeah. And usually you guys are very supportive of like, okay,
you both did it this year,
do
actually.
It. Yeah.
Yeah, you did it too. And you're like, this is where I need to be at, and this is what I'm going to do. And I was like, awesome. Yeah. Like,
and if it makes sense financially, right?
Right. Well, we were like, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
We created the roadmap to do it.
Well,
and we are doing it.
I want to add into like, Topher did go a portion of time without making more money.
For sure.
But he also knew, because we are open book, that we had a couple of things that went not
That's very
great.
true.
Yeah.
So like to watch out for the company
Yeah. Good
with
point.
the owner mindset, like
Yeah.
that's probably why he didn't ask for anything.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah.
Totally.
To give grace and be like,
Well, it's like I could.
and he could have been like, peace out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Be like, I want to
totally.
make more money, or I'm leaving.
Yeah, I could double down on the
Totally.
Yeah.
And you never
situation.
did. Just
Yeah. Well, yeah. 'Cause
amazing.
it's like I could try and make more money for myself, but then the company would be in a bad position, and then maybe it wouldn't even be
A company.
around.
Right.
We are today. Yeah.
Take the last dollar they have.
Yeah.
Actually, you still owe me those 20 cents.
I love it. So what do you guys need as employees? Like, what do you really want from your boss? I also hate the word boss. Like, I tell these guys, I'm like, ew, I'm not your boss. Like, don't
Morgan
ever
calls
say
me her
that.
boss sometimes.
Yeah,
and I'm
Kayla's
like, "Please
definitely
never do
my
that."
boss.
Jamie's been in my phone since 2016 with Jamie Bossman.
So yeah, like, and if you were speaking for someone else too, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I think you guys do show up, and it's, yeah. So like, what is, could a boss remember? Like, this is what your team needs from you, and
Yeah.
to show up that way a little bit more.
I think one thing to remember if you're like looking for a new job or, wanting to change careers or something is to, remember the boss is not only interviewing you. We talk about this with clients, right? Like it goes two ways. Like make sure you're asking the right questions to your potential new boss of their values, maybe what they would do in a certain situation versus what you would do in a certain situation, and just kind of make sure that those things align. I feel like coming to Construction to Style was really easy because your brand and your values, like you guys are really honest and open about that on social media, online. So you can kind of do your research and figure that out. But yeah, that would be like a tip I would give to someone that's shopping around for a new job, is make sure that you're finding a business that aligns with your personal values. And also you have to figure out who you're going to be as an employee, in a sense of what you want to provide back to that brand. And when I took this job at Construction to Style, I was like, I'm all in. I want to get as far as I can here,
Yeah.
do as much as I can here, make it a better place for everyone to work. And I want to continue to take things off of your guys' plate so that you can live your best life too.
What'd you say, Topher?
I was thinking about 3 things that I think I've received or that I would recommend to any other boss. I think these are all 3 characteristics that I've appreciated from Jamie. One is honesty, whether it's honesty to me or me being able to be honest with him, whether that's it's not going well right now, I'm up to my head and it's like, all right, like how are we going to get through this?
Yep.
Number 2 would be I never felt like I'm outworking him. I feel like there's always been he's either working harder than me or working as hard as me. It's never been this I'm out here slinging hammers and you're
Golfing.
in Florida with your
Golfing.
I was going to say slinging balls at the golf course.
And then the third is the open conversation and autonomy. I think that he's created with me, and many times he's asked me, what do you want? Or what do you think we should do? And so I think that creates this ability for you to make decisions as your quote unquote own boss or you're with the owner mindset. So yeah, those 3 things I would say would be my recommendation to anyone looking to be a boss.
I love it.
I was gonna say you're both really
Ew.
good about like asking or knowing kind of if we're drowning a little bit and asking like, is there anything I can do to help? Because sometimes the answer is no, like it's just things that are easier for us to kind of figure out on our own. But sometimes the answer is yes.
Yes.
And like if we were to ask for that, you would show up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Jamie? What would you need from your employee to make your life easier?
Shine your clubs.
A golf caddy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think.
Why is Topher your favorite employee?
Well, I think because he has taken ownership of, being the project manager, where more times than not, I'm like, what do you need from me?
Yeah.
Like, where do you need me to go? Like, do you need me to go help in the field? Like, things like that, where, again, like, I hate like you do. Like, I'm not your boss. Like, we're here to work together as a team to better everyone's life. So I don't know, like, plan more golf trips.
The honesty.
That's what you'd want your employee to do. Plan more golf trips.
Well, I mean, yeah, because again, like, if Topher's like, oh, here's a golf event, I think we should do it. Well, I know, or I trust that he feels good with where we're at in the field, to where he's like, yeah, we can take a day and go do it.
Right.
Like, because I don't know. Like, I don't think there's anything right now where I'm like, oh, this is what I would change or want or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
What about you?
I would say, again, what I love about you guys, and one thing that I'll notice in situations of others, not like, I love our team, obviously you guys know that, but neither of you have ever came to me with, you've never been freaking out, you've never been like super upset about something, you've never come with a problem to be like, are you kidding me? If you come to us with a problem, it's more like you just need to vent, or we're already on the same page. Whereas I do know, again, from colleagues or from the summit and all this, it's like hearing where they're having to fix things all the time. And I don't feel like we're ever having to fix things, so that I'm constantly focused now on our growth and where we're going next. So I feel like I'm always, my day-to-day is like focused on where we're going to be in 3 years from now. Right. And I'm building those things. Whereas what you'll come to me and you'll be like, this is what's happening and this is what I'm doing about it. And so I just feel like, to an employee, like showing up that way and taking work off your plate. If I hand something to someone, I want them to go and do it. Fully. I don't want to hand something and then they're like, oh, this isn't working, or can you look at this, or blah, blah, blah. And I understand there's a time and place for like collaboration and feedback. But when I'm like, okay, now you're creating more work for me, when I can just go do it in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, then I'm like, I'm done. And I have, as you know, pretty low patience with that stuff. So I'm like,
what?
I need people that can take it. Like, when you're hired somewhere, show up, take things off the owner's plate so that they can, and to me, it's like, it's not getting their freedom back. It's so that they can be working on other things.
Yeah.
And maybe find yourself a company that is doing that.
Yeah.
And they're not just working for their, because for me, I'm like, I want to get to the next thing to build the next thing. And sure, maybe that's freedom mentally of other clutter, right? But it's like, take things off the plate so that they can be.
It's like, take the thing and do it.
Right.
Like, don't take the thing and then halfway do it and then need help.
Have 5,000 questions when there's Google and AI and all these other things. Yeah. I'm like, go Google it. Have you done that yet? No? Okay, do not come to me.
But all that ties back into the thought that we want people to take their experiences through life and apply it in the way they think it should be applied.
Right.
It isn't you telling them what to do, because then you're pretty much doing it again anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, the people have to own their thing and be able to deliver on it.
Right.
Because if they're not, then they're not really doing their job.
Exactly.
When I would say that's easier said than done. I think it's been a long process for you guys to get to the point where we are at right now. Like, I know that there was a time where it's like my phone would die because I called Jamie too many times during the day. It's like literally everything under, so I would call him all day long on things. And now I'm truly to a point where I'm like trying to get him to not be on a job.
Yeah.
So where it's like, tomorrow, don't need you. Wednesday, I can do this by myself. Thursday, be helpful. If I could have you here, bring this.
Right.
And so it's like, it's an interesting perspective just to have that mindset. And again, not that I don't always know what he's doing when he's not working, but I think I've developed enough trust where it's like, you've got to have better things to do than helping me hang sheetrock.
Right.
And I think I can handle this by myself.
Yeah.
I think that, you guys have found, I feel like in the more recent year, like, you can set boundaries of like, okay, I need to like work on this, or like, you're like, I need to sit down at my desk and work uninterrupted. Yeah. That maybe you hadn't had the opportunity to kind of do prior.
Oh my gosh, 100%.
Yeah.
110%. Love it. All right, well, that kind of wraps up our conversation.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom. We're so grateful for you guys. And like I say, everyone should have a Kayla and Topher in their life. Just don't steal them from us. Cheers.
Cheers, Power Rangers.
Until next time.
Okay.
Ching ching, bada bing, bada
Go
boom.
team. Power up is what they say.
I think, I don't know.